I believe all are from India.
So, basically, the topic that we are talking today is ADDM and ASH report. These are some of the advanced concepts in Oracle database tuning. However, many of us, okay, from the performance testing side, most of us will not be getting a chance to take all these reports, or you'll not be working proactively on all these, taking ASH report, ADDM report, and the complete analysis part. There are few companies, product-based companies, when you work as a one-man show, like where you are taking care of all the end-to-end core performance testing and engineering activities. It is you again who has to analyze the web server or app server or database servers that you have inside your infrastructure. So basically, after AWR report, when we talk about ADDM, right? This ADDM is called Automatic Database Diagnostic Monitor. Okay, what basically does is it analyzes all the data in the AWR. So both are equally important, AWR and ADDM. So this ADDM will completely analyze all the data in the AWR to identify all the potential bottlenecks. Okay, and the main feature of ADDM is it automatically. Let me share my screen. Are you able to see my screen now?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So whatever the report that I'm showing it to you currently is the sample report. Okay. If you look at the report, this is how an ADDM report looks like. Okay. So it also has some time range. Basically, whatever the time frame that you take for AWR, it will be the same time that it will consider, or Oracle itself automatically takes ADDM for every 1 hour if you are enabling it from the Oracle database. So what ADDM is doing is it is automatically detecting and reporting all the performance problems inside the database, and the results of all the ADDM findings on the database are displayed in something called OEM, Oracle Enterprise Manager. Theoretically, this may sound bad, but when I show it to you in real time, I have already installed Oracle 12c and 19, and I also have Oracle 11.x as well. So when I show it to you, there are something like advisors. You need to go to ADDM. It is very simple. You have to go to the Oracle Enterprise Manager homepage. From there, you have to go to advisors. From there, you have an option called ADDM. From that, you have some parameters where you have to enable your ADDM to capture all this data, so that what ADDM will do is it has some unique inbuilt feature from the Oracle itself. It will analyze all the performance problems to 50 to 60%, and it will directly suggest you all the different recommendations. Okay, so the main use of ADDM is to basically it enables the performance engineer or any of the DBA to quickly identify any of the performance problems, okay, that require someone's attention to improve the DB performance. Let's say that if you look at these findings and recommendations, finding one, it is IO throughput, it is saying, right? It is saying that the throughput of the IO subsystem was significantly lower than expected. It is directly giving you what is happening, and it is also giving a recommendation to do from our side. It is suggesting the DBA or performance engineer to fix one specific parameter like host configuration. So out of the recommendation that he is giving from his side, so he is also telling us the estimated benefit will be 0.1 active sessions and 100% of total activity, and he is also giving you a clear action saying that you need to increase the throughput of the IO system. So that he's telling what can improve with what. And even if you look at the similar recommendation, he's asking us to change the host configuration because it is slowing down some RMAN activity, and you may see some rack issues, or you will see some different things. This report is not clear. I mean, this is a very old report with some legacy version. This is some 10G or something, but whatever the report that you are getting in 19C Oracle with Cloud, or 12G, or you also have other version called 18, there is a very good format which can clearly tell you what is the finding and what is the recommendation and what is that you need to change to improve the DB performance. Okay, so, and the main important feature of ADDM is for each of the identified issue. Okay, it will give you a individual recommendation, it will give you a individual action that you need to take. From when I say the action that we have to take, it is mostly the DBA who has to change all of them to improve the performance, considering this ADDM recommendations. So when you run an ADDM, or when you get ADDM report, for each of the identified issues, it locates the root cause and provides the complete recommendation to correct the issue. Okay, and every time an ADDM analysis task is performed in the Oracle database, when it will give you some findings and recommendations, where they are stored, they are directly stored in the database. Every time an AWR snapshot is taken, every time you take an AWR snapshot, along with the AWR snapshot, all the findings or the recommendations of that ATM will automatically get stored in AWR report. And if you want to enable this ADDM report, if you want the Oracle to find the performance issues, and if you want to know what and all the recommendations that Oracle can give you to improve the performance of the database, you need to enable this ADDM. To make this ADDM work, okay, you need to set some parameter called statistics level. You need to set to a value called typical or all. I'll tell you what parameter it is. Okay, and so once you get the report, you need to review all the ADDM findings, and you need to implement the recommendations. I will not say it is the performance engineer again, that the senior DBA, or some at times, very rarely, 5 to 10%, it is the performance engineer who has to perform this implementation of ADDM recommendations as part of the regular database maintenance. If it is a prod database, you need to allow me a minute. If it is a prod database, you need to go and take ADDM every day as part of your production database. You need to check everything. You need to continuously take the ADDM. You need to it's an ongoing process, complete iterative process. If you continuously taking the ADDM, looking at all the recommendations and findings, and as part of your database maintenance activity, you need to fix all these issues on daily basis. This is the best practice to improve the performance. Okay. And even if your database is operating at an optimal performance level, let's say that you're seeing some good performance, and you noticed that it is not really going that bad, but still, okay, the DBA job role is he has to continuously monitor what's happening inside the database. Okay, and he has to make use of this something called ADDM to monitor the database performance on an ongoing basis. He has to continuously monitor it, and he has to take the help of ADDM for sure, and he has to analyze all of them to ensure that nothing is going down from the database side with respect to performance. Okay, basically this ADDM is a self-diagnostic engine that comes as a built-in option directly from the Oracle database, and it will clearly examine and analyze all the data captured in AWR, so to tell you what is the performance problem, or what where is the performance degradation inside the Oracle database. And after telling you all this information, giving you the findings and recommendations, then it will locate the root cause. It will give you some recommendation to correct them. And what you have to remember here is, whatever the recommendations that you get from the ADDM, implementing all of them will be a definitely a best practice to improve the performance, but it will not fix the complete performance of any database. You got my point, right? If ADDM is giving you all the solutions, all the recommendations, and if you are implementing all of them, and 100% of the performance is fixed from the database side, you need not do anything from your side, right? So your intervention or your DBA intervention is not required to improve the performance or to address the performance defects from the Oracle database. ADDM will help you to find out the problems. Okay, it can give you some strong recommendations where you can fine tune them. Okay, by increasing some SGA or increasing some memory structures. So most of the recommendations you see like this, but it will not improve all the complete performance of the database. Okay, your intervention is required, but ADDM will identify the critical areas of the database where no action is necessary. It will also tell you where is the problem and what is not a problem. Okay, now tell me how frequently the ADDM is taken. Any idea on how frequently we can take the ADDM?
Whenever we take at AWR report, it will automatically generate.
Yes, you're right. Can you place your calls on mute, please? I'm sorry. Can all of you place your call on mute? Thank you. So basically, an ADDM analysis is performed after each AWR snapshot. Uh, like same like AWR, ADDM is also taken for every 1 hour by default. And where the results are saved? When the ADDM is uh, taken, or when the AWR is taken, where the results are saved? They are saved in the database, right? Then once they are saved inside the database, all of them can be viewed using Oracle Enterprise Manager. Okay, and before you use any of the other alternate performance tuning method, you have to first look at the results of the ADDM report. What ADDM is telling you is the important point here. You cannot opt for any of the other performance tuning method to improve the performance. ADDM and AW are the very important reports which can help you to identify 80% of the bottlenecks. Okay, and forget about who is working on it or who is tuning it. We don't really need it. So basically, every time when you want to jump onto something like I have to tune my database, or I have to change something in my database to improve the performance, to improve the performance of the database or the application, the first thing that you have to do is review the results of the ADDM analysis, of the ADDM report that has been generated. Okay, so ADDM, how it will analyze the performance problems is ADDM uses the DB time statistics to identify the performance problems. Okay, the main important culprit, okay, or the parameter or the metric is always the problem is with the database time. You know, right? What is database time? Database time is the time, the total time that has been spent by the database in processing the user calls or user requests, including both wait time and CPU time of all user sessions. This is what is DB time. And when this DB time is being calculated, you can have a lot of wait events. Something can wait. The reason why you are seeing these wait events is because there must be some kind of object contention. Okay, there are different contention types again. You know what is contention again, right? Contention is nothing but they're struggling to fetch very small amount of data. There is a concept called the DB objects. Some of the DB objects are called hot objects. The reason why we call them hot objects is because those objects will eat memory, will kill the CPU time, will consume a lot of CPU, and they will really struggle or fight hard to fetch a very small amount of data. There are different contention types like latches, mutexes, buffers, and some other. I don't remember at the moment. There are three types of contention types, and depending upon the contention type that you see, you will tend to see too many wait events. And when you have too many wait events, that will impact the time it is taking to process all the user calls. And when it is calculating when the database is processing the user requests or user calls, you have a CPU time here. There is some CPU time that has been sent, and there is something called wait time. Many of the sessions may wait, and you may see so many wait events of all the user sessions that are not idle. So you immediately you go back. The first thing you see DB time, you break your DB time into bits and pieces, and you try to identify how much CPU time is spending on all the user requests, and what is the wait time that I have. In this wait time, how many wait events I have, which wait event is taking too much of time, what type of contention I have, which contention is not allowing my DB time to get reduced. That is how you optimize it. This comes with basically this all comes with experience. Okay, it is not theoretically we can talk a lot about Oracle database. I'm telling you, right? Even if you start now to learn and to become an expertise in Oracle database tuning, or if you want to adopt the complete roles and responsibilities of an Oracle DBA, it will take years, minimum 5 to 8 years, to understand the complete different schemas, different execution plans, how the database is designed. So how do you define a database? On what basis you consider these many tables are required to access this amount of data for all the 50 to 100 applications that I have from my client Morgan Stanley. So you have to define all of them to baseline or to benchmark or to decide your hardware and software configuration of your database size, or to conclude the capacity of your database in the next quarter or the next 1 year, considering the growth of your user rate on your application, you being a performance engineer, is not possible. This is my straight answer to all of you. It it requires a lot of additional experience to define your Oracle database performance. To give a conclusion, my Oracle is working as expected. My databases are working as expected. I don't see any issues in this specific Oracle database designing. So always what I want to tell you as a senior performance engineer is, you have to learn AWR report. how to identify the performance problems, how to fix them, and what is the use of ADDM report. So what it will analyze, what is my role to interpret these results, and what is that I can do from my side to address the performance issues to the customer. And ASH report, only these things, high load SQL statements tuning. The rest of the part, I suggest you to not to touch anything from the database side. Anyhow, 99% you will not be given access to all of them, but these areas are really, really important to conclude the issue, to understand the issue. Okay, so okay, so I told you, right, the primary goal of tuning the performance of our Oracle database is to reduce something called database time of the system, DB time of the system, for any workload. Okay, by reducing this DB time, the database will be able to support more user requests using the same resources. So once you optimize your database time, it will accommodate more number of users. It will give you some good response times of all the transactions. If it will improve the wait events so that the DB time gets optimized. And optimizing the DB time is not an easy task again. You yourself cannot completely do it, or you cannot completely optimize it. Only with the help of the DBA, he can, if he is okay to explain you all of these things, and if he is okay to give you all the uh, required changes what he has done from his side, it is okay, so that you will understand what is the fix that he has given to improve the DB time, to optimize the DB time. And you document the same thing in the test results report, saying that we have noticed highest amount of DB time for this time, for this point of time, when I ran a load test for 4 to 8 hours. So in the third hour, for 20 minutes continuously, we have seen high DB time. And to fix this, this is what we have done. That is what you will write in the report, right? Publishing a report with recommendations and suggestions, and along with fixes. So you have to get to know what happened from the DBA side and what he has done, and you have to add that fix in your report. That is how you are supposed to publish your report. Publishing a report, I mean, it will not simply include all the graphs of yours of the test that has happened, and you cannot highlight all the spikes that you see in the graphs. And it is not like merging all the graphs by types, right? Correlate, tile, and overlay in load runner. And you cannot take a common x-axis or common y-axis, and you cannot directly tell your client that this value is increasing with this. This is what happened with this graph. This is not the actual report. The actual report includes the performance issues, the performance bottlenecks, along with uh, the abnormal activities that are observed, and what is the fix that you have given, and how it has improved from test 1 to test 2, with same test settings, with no changes in the scripts, with same runtime settings, with same with same code and same build. So the first test you have seen a DB time of 23 seconds, and the second test DB time has been optimized to 13 to 14 seconds, and now you are seeing it is only 8 seconds or 7 seconds. That is what you need to include in your test report, right? And for more in order to understand more on the DB time, system resources, right? Most of them they use the portion of the DB time. Okay, so whatever the system resources that are using the significant portion of the DB time are reported as a problem areas by a ADDM report. You can see that in the ADDM report. Okay, it can directly tell you that these are the system resources that are increasing the DB time. So you can directly see a recommendation like see there is something called undersized instance memory, and it is directly saying a recommendation. It is giving you it is calculating the impact of this particular activity, and it is also telling that in the Oracle instance memory you will have SCA, system global area, and program global area. So what it is doing is for having this undersized instance memory, it is causing additional IO and CPU usage. In order to reduce that resource crunch, resource utilizations like excessive CPU usage and additional IO, you have to go back and you have to increase the SGA and PGA size. For that, you need to go to database configuration, and you need to you need to increase that the allocated memory in the instance by setting a memory called memory target. I'm highlighting this one. Did you see this memory target to 875 MB? And when you see a recommendation like this, increase your memory target. Sorry, increase your memory. So if your memory target is 500 MB, when you got a recommendation like increase your memory, now how much do you increase? From 500 to increased 875. What is the value you give from your side? Anyone? Do you directly give 600 MB or 1024 MB? How much do you give? You understood my question? So we have a finding saying that you have undersized instance memory. When you say instance memory, this includes the memory SGA and PGA, system global area and program global area. Okay. So when you have this undersized instance memory SGA and PGA, it will cause a lot of additional IO, and it will show you some high CPU usage on the database server. Now your recommendation is directly go to database configuration and you have to increase the memory that has been allocated to that instance by setting the parameter called memory target. Now the memory target earlier I have given 500 MB. Now to reduce my CPU usage and additional IO on my database, I have to increase my memory. So now how much memory I have to increase is the question. From 500 MB, do I need to give 600 MB or 875 MB or 900 MB or 1024 MB? What is the value that you can think of and why? Don't know? 8 people are there, okay. You can simply double the memory, okay? If I have 500 MB, you can simply give 1000 MB, okay? So that will directly reduce, if you are increasing 50% of the memory, there are chances of decreasing the half of the utilization of IO that is happening and the CPU utilization. Okay, for more information about the DB time statistics, to understand the DB time, you have to go to time model statistics in AWR. There are few metrics that can tell you what happened with your DB time statistics. In addition to diagnose all these performance problems, right? ADDM recommends multiple solutions from which you can decide. You can choose or you can decide. ADDM will give you all the possible solutions that you can implement as part of your performance implementations. The first thing is hardware changes. Okay, this hardware changes basically it will directly tell you to add a CPU or memory or something, or you have to change some IO subsystem configuration till tell you like that. From the database configuration, it can tell you that so you need to change some settings, something like initialization settings. Okay, and it can also tell you to do some changes from the schema if something is not working as expected from the database. Like this is an advanced topic, like hash partitioning, hard partitioning a table or index, or using something like or use ASSM, automatic space segment management system. Okay, these are all things that are used to basically change something from the schema side. And you have another thing like application changes. It can tell you like to use cache options or something. Not sure other point, I don't remember. Application changes, it will ask you to use cache options, and it may ask you to use something called bind variables for SQL executions. Okay, and the last one is it will ask you to use all available advisors. There are so many tools like SQL tuning advisor. Okay, basically this is this as SQL tuning advisor is used on high load SQL statements, which SQL to know which SQL is taking high load time, and it will ask you to use segment advisor. The segment advisor, it can help you to identify all the hot objects. Okay, so you can take a snap of this one. ADDM will primarily identify or troubleshoot why am I seeing the DB time. Okay, then it will identify all the performance problem. It will give you some multiple recommendations, and you can decide or you can choose which implementation that you can uh, take as part of your performance bottlenecks troubleshooting. The first thing is hardware changes. It can be the database configuration, it can be the schema changes, application changes, or it will ask you to use all the available advisors. These are all the main 5 recommendations that you always see in the report. Even if you look at the report, recommendation 1 is the database configuration, right? That is what we have written here, database configuration. Change some settings. The setting itself is talking about uh, okay, so there is some undersized instance memory, and if you go back and see hard parts due to invalidations, it is also saying that application issue, application analysis. This is what we are changing. We are talking about application changes. This is an application analysis, and if you look at some kind of other weight class, it is talking about commits and rollbacks. Okay, this is also an application analysis. This is database configuration. So most of the times you see application changes, schema changes, database configuration, hardware changes, and uh, this thing. I mean, it will ask you to use all the available advisors. Okay, so ADDM will benefit you on ADDM benefits, right? Whatever the benefits that you see from the ADDM, the recommendations that you get, they can help you all the production systems. Not only the production systems, you can also take ADDM on testing environment, test systems, or development systems. And the main unique benefit of ADDM report is it will provide all the early problem detections of all the potential performance problems that you see later point of time. It is like it can provide an early warning of all the potential performance issues of your application. And what you have to understand is it is very important to all of you to realize or to understand that performance tuning is a complete iterative process. It is a never ending process. Okay, the reason is because fixing one problem in any of the server can cause a bottleneck. Okay, and it can shift to any other area or part of the infrastructure. You fix something in the database, you see some other bottleneck in the application server. You fix all the bottlenecks in the application server, now you tend to see, you see another bottleneck from the web server. You are fixing all the performance bottlenecks from the server side, now you start seeing bottlenecks from the client side, right? So it is always an iterative process. You need to understand fixing any problem, it can cause a bottleneck and it can shift to another part of the system. So you need, before after fixing or before fixing any of the bottleneck, any of the issue from the entire infrastructure, you need to analyze the impact of that particular fix on the entire infrastructure or on the entire system. And that comes with the experience. You may ask me like, how can I test the impact of my system? That is why you have a proper APM solution in place. You have pure paths, you have something like dashboards. You can add all of your servers to the dashboard. You can look at, continuously monitor all your servers, and you can easily understand what is happening on that particular server by looking at all these metrics. Okay, and ADM, one ADDM will not, you may have some question like, sir, can we fix all of the problems with one AWR or one ADDM report? No, you cannot do that. So eventually, to get the benefit eventually uh, of all the ADDM reports, uh, considering the analysis, you may need to take multiple AWRs, multiple ADDM reports, involving in multiple tuning cycles to reach the desirable level of the database performance. That is again nothing but something called SLA. SLA is not, the Oracle database SLA is not completely defined in any of the non-functional requirements that you get from the customer, right? So I have a question to all of you. So, for example, if you are assuming me as your customer or your client, if I give a requirement, what is that final result that you will give me? Because whosoever joined this today's session, some 7 people, including me, 8 people, right? Sridhar, Mohan, Deb, Vasudha, Anil, Chelua. So, if you consider, if we are considering all of your experience, now tell me, what is the final thing that you're submitting to your client after completing your performance testing?
The reports of the test and the recommendations or suggestions, whatever issues that we are finding from the run.
Okay. So are you including all this ADDM, AWR, ASH? Are you including all of them?
I don't think so. I mean, I have never done this, but mostly only the issues that we are finding on a high level that we'll note. We'll mention that in the report.
Usually when we face an issue and then we enable this ADDM, ADA, this ASH reports and all, only then we'll provide I mean, depending on the issues faced and depending on the changes or the configurations done, and depending upon that, we'll provide if it is necessary to provide these ASH reports and ADDM report and all.
Mm-hmm.
It also considers like whether it is an like Oracle database intensive application where a lot of activities is carried out in the database side. So if it is that kind of application, then we have to dig into more information with respect to the AWR reports and other stats with respect to database. So it also depends on all these aspects. So then only we are going to provide all these stats to the client.
The reason why you are not giving all this ADDM, ASH or AWR to your client is because, do you know what is regular database maintenance? There is something called regular database maintenance, which is which will happen on an ongoing basis. There will be some DBAs who will be working in shifts. 3 DBAs will be continuously working, or one DBA will be directly taking care of the entire application. So always he keeps an eye on what is happening inside the database, what are all the problematic areas inside the database. He continuously takes all these AWRs, ASH, ADDM, and he'll try to fix all of them with the help of ADDM recommendation. This will happen from another area of our project most of the times. That is why the reason no performance engineer will be asked about why my performance of my database is like this. Why are you not submitting any of the performance behaviors from my Oracle DB of the application that we are actually working? The reason no client will ask us is because one DBA team is already working on it, and when you are running a test on your application, your DBA will be notified. Okay, and he will get the report and he will uh, do his work from his side. But again, coming when we are talking about our part from the performance testing side, again, it is not about product or services based. It all depends on what type of working opportunity you got. Okay, there are few clients which will give you uh, which will open where they will open the doors to all the tech stack that is being used in your application, and it is you again who has to monitor all the servers and who has to log into your database server and take all these reports. But that happens very rarely. But when, I mean, the current role that I'm working now is responsible for taking all these ADDM reports, ASH reports, and AWR reports, and I have to report what happened when I ran a test for the last 3 years. That is what I have to do. Similarly, going forward, where many of the clients or companies are trying to adopt this DevOps model, okay, they are expecting, especially when we talk about all these performance testing job descriptions. You may have seen very recently with many of the JDs. Now they are asking something called SDET, Software Development Engineer in Test, which includes automation, security, database testing, performance. However, they will not get it. But when coming to the performance part, if you look at the performance skills, it is asking about Oracle database tuning, SQL Server tuning. If they are using Microsoft VSTS performance tool, they are asking about MS SQL Server hands-on experience for 2 years, Oracle database tuning, some hands-on experience in Java for 2 long years, Kubernetes, Docker, Elasticsearch, Kibana. So they are asking plenty of things. So going forward, the roles and responsibilities of a performance engineer job will be very unique. Okay, so now it is very important for all of you to make use of or to learn this ADDM, AWR, and ASH, and 30 to 40% data learning database concepts and getting some good hands-on experience, at least from Oracle, is really important, especially who have crossed 5 to 6 years of experience in performance testing. Now, every performance engineer who has a minimum of 5 to 6 years experience will be asked whether if you have performance engineering experience or not. This performance engineering along with tuning includes the Oracle database tuning hands-on. Okay, so that is the importance of this one. And now I would like to quickly close in another 15 minutes. If Now, I have you might have another question like how to configure this Oracle database, how to configure ADDM in Oracle database, right? How do you configure this one?
RK, I mean, it's a request. Like, if you could provide us one report which is having a good result and one report which is having a bad result, so that we can do a comparison and we can analyze the report.
See, this is one report I have. There are so
Mhm.
many recommendations in this one, and I also have another report. I'll share this report with you all, and I have prepared a separate notes actually. If you can go through and if you can read all of them, it will be easy for you to understand. Okay.
Okay. Why? Because I have seen the reports, but I mean the recommendations and all, whatever it is shown in that report, that will be usually kind of automatically generated. We are not sure if we can implement those things or not.
No, they are definitely implemented. Whatever the ADDM is telling you, they are implemented. No doubt about it.
Okay.
Because
Mm-hmm.
whatever the recommendations that you see, you implement them and you rerun your test and see it again.
Okay. Okay.
And you will understand it very easily, right? When you take ADDM, when you implement something, whatever the recommendations that you see from the application side, when you rerun your test, you will understand from the transaction response time. Again, if your
Okay.
DB time is showing very high, now if your DB time is 20 seconds, after
Mm-hmm.
adopting after making all the necessary changes from the recommendations that you got from ADDM, now if your DB time is increased in the next run, something is wrong again, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
That is why the reason I highlighted one point. Only 50 to 60% ADDM will help. The rest
Okay.
of the
Okay.
part will be analyzed from AWR. Then you go back and see ASH report, and in parallel with all these reports, you will look at all the metrics, right? Like how
Mm-hmm.
many reads happen, how many writes happen, what is the CPU utilization. From the APM, you will see all the values again. If some metric value is increasing, then it will show a very big impact on the ADDM or AWR or the DB time. It can show some bad impact on any on the metrics that you have inside AWR or ADDM. You can understand it very easily. I'll tell you some shortcuts. There should be some best practices document because in theoretically we will not be able to cover all of them. But I can help you with documentation. You have to spend some time on it. You will get some good idea.
Sure. Yeah. It would be great if you can share that best practices.
Yeah, I'll share all of them, but my humble request to all of you is not to share with anyone. There are some client IDs on it, and if something is going out, it can file as a lawsuit. You know it,
No,
right?
no.
You are aware of it.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. We understand that. We'll definitely will not share it with others.
Okay.
Yeah,
So thank you.
RK, one more thing
Yes, sir.
actually. Uh, uh, so when you see that there are recommendations that are coming from your ADDM reports and AWR, right? So once you're going to implement the change, so you look at both the suggestions, like you first take the suggestions of ADDM and implement everything that has been given in ADDM, or you
Yes.
analyze that which one to be implemented?
No, no. We actually, if you take the ADDM report, it will calculate the impact. Okay, there is something called impact. So if
Okay.
you see here, it will calculate the impact. Here it is not. I have saved it in. Sorry, allow me a minute.
Yeah.
I don't know where is this one. Okay, okay. I did not cover that point yet. I'll cover now. We are talking about that.
Okay. And one
So,
more thing,
uh,
uh, like this alongside this ADDM reports and AWR analysis,
mhm.
uh, does this, if you are running all these things into APM solutions, will APM also give you some sort of a suggestions like
No, no,
what to
no,
improve?
no, 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 not at all. That will not happen from the APM side. APM will give you the visualization of all the metrics. It will create some dashboard and it will allow you to see everything in the pie chart diagrammatic representation. That is what is going to happen. That's all.
Okay.
APM will not do anything other than that. It can tell you the behavior of every individual metric, and I mean, after adopting all this AI, artificial intelligence, machine learning algorithms, they are trying to create some sort of unique intelligence of that APM to identify what can be the danger or what can be the problem of this metric in future. That is why the reason you have some additional options or features where you can, if you have one single metric, you can create an alert, you can create alarm, you can create anomaly. You have some different severities, like if this metric, for example, if you take CPU utilization, if it is crossing 40% utilization in my load test, this is what the message I should get. If it is exceeding 50%, this is the alarm I should get. If it is exceeding 70%, this is the anomaly that I should get. So it will notify the customer along with the user, along with the performance engineer, all the different teams, saying that the CPU utilization now has been increased or it has been exceeded or it has gone beyond 70%. So you will be continuously getting alarms or anomalies, so that immediately you can stop your test and you can monitor or you can troubleshoot something directly by logging into the database. These sort of things can happen, but no APM will give you a recommendation.
Okay, so if I understood correctly, it is like APM will direct us which area to look or troubleshoot around, and in that part we will, if it is on database part, then we'll go dig down into deep into it and find out the details of troubleshooting areas with this documentation, which is, I mean, with these reports like AWR, ASH, or ADTM, correct?
Exactly, you're right. So even today so many people ask me, sir, my customer don't have any budget and he's asking us to go with all open source stack, and most of the people still do performance testing without a performance test, without an APM tool, without a monitoring tool. Doing a performance testing without a monitoring tool is like, you never know, it is waste of time, waste of effort, that's all. That is a completely wrong practice which will put everyone in the team into trouble. Without an APM solution, doing a performance testing, judging the performance of the application is a blunt mistake. Your experience directly comes to zero, no matter how good are you in performance testing, how many years of experience you have, will keep it you will directly, you'll be as you'll, I mean, not you or me, everyone who is working in that aspect will be a zero directly. So when you as an experienced performance engineer, when you get some project where a customer doesn't know anything, it is you who has to drive, who has to define the roadmap of that particular project. You need to tell him that we need to have a proper SLA, we need to target that SLA. Our motto is to bring all the servers to the desirable performance level of what has been defined in the SLAs that has been given. Okay, and you need to identify all the list of metrics, you need to identify the right performance testing environment, the dedicated performance environment, and you need to identify all the counters metrics, the response times, industry standard numbers, and what you have to fine tune, and what is that you have to, what are the different flavors of testings that you have to do, how you have to publish the report, and what monitoring tool you have to use is the crucial part of your any performance testing assignment. Trust me, if you don't have a right APM solution in place, you will not understand any of the problematic areas in your infrastructure. That is why the reason every APM nowadays, Dynatrace, CA APM or App Dynamics, they created their own unique agent for the type of server that we have in the market. You can monitor Oracle, you can monitor Cassandra, you can monitor MongoDB, IBM DB2, Postgres, Hadoop database, SAP HANA database. For everything, they have their own unique agent. You have to download that agent, you have to configure that agent, you have to connect it to the target server, you have to run your load test, and you have to monitor all the metrics in place, and you have to check all the different graphs, like what is happening when you run a test. Don't do a performance test without a monitoring solution. And there are few situations and circumstances where a client can ask you, tell me only how much time it is taking to load a page. If he's very particular about that situation, scenario, you have to do only that. Again, considering a sentence called customer is God. You are working in a service based company and you are working under him, and you have an on-site in pipeline, and whatever he's saying, he's asking you to work on it, you do that, that's all. But going forward, as an ongoing practice, you have to slowly educate him. You need to make him understand this is not the right approach. This is where you have to start, and this is how you have to do. That is where your experience comes into picture, right? So you need to have an APM solution, mm, work with an APM solution, and then only you will be able to quickly identify or fix all the performance issues, right? And so configuring the database, automatic database configuring the ADDM is very simple. ADDM is enabled by default in the Oracle database. There is a parameter called statistics level. This parameter is called initialization parameter. Okay.
Okay, Marky, I have a question here
Yes, sir.
related to the monitoring tools.
Yes.
So, like how accurate it would be like when you are using the different APM tools. So since like I see there is some difference when we take some stats. So we
Mhm.
still see the difference with respect to CPU or memory or disk. Like I can see like I am using APM tool as well as Dynatrace.
Mhm.
So when I check on the stats, so there is some information will be the graphs will be looking different when I take for that particular server with the particular time. So is that like when we look into different tools, so are we expected to be having some difference, or do we get the accurate measurements of the server stats?
No, no. See, there is a one simple conclusion here. If because the reason why I'm trying to explain this point is because I am working on CA APM. You must be aware of CA Wiley Intrascope, right? Wiley Intrascope is now CA APM, and I have been performance testing this monitoring tool, all the agents. I am performance testing this product. Basically, when we run any of the performance test of our product, CA APM, our competitors are AppDynamics and Dynatrace. As you said, if you are trying to take metrics, or if you are trying to pull all these values of different metrics with the same test using Dynatrace or AppDynamics or CAAPM, the values of the metrics that you see are totally different. You will not see the same values in APM, CAAPM, in Dynatrace and AppDynamics, because every APM tool has its unique style of working, and we cannot tell that why we are getting 73% CPU utilization in AppDynamics and I am seeing only 69% of CPU utilization in Dynatrace, because we have one APM solution which is already tested from that vendor and we are simply relying on that result. We are not comparing all the values with the different APM tools, but however, there is some efficiency and some reliable numbers from different APM tools that which cannot happen from open source tools. Again, open source will not, you cannot rely on all the numbers that you see in open source monitoring tools. Whatever the results that you see in CAAPM or New Relic or AppDynamics or Dynatrace, those are reliable. And if you take all these values, all these metrics of the tests that you have done using two different APM tools, the values are always different, and you don't have anything to do with it, because we can't do anything with it. Even if you report that to any of our management or any of our customers, there is no solution for that. You understood?
Yeah, I got it.
Yeah, okay. Yeah.
So, but only thing is, depending upon your budget or depending upon your pay model, it is up to you who has to decide it.
Is that
Uh,
because of the vendor based on the tool behind by different vendors? Because I have another question related to
Yes.
this. With
Yeah.
respect, earlier we used to use HP Diagnostics,
Mm,
HP Sitescope, and HP Performance Manager OpenView like that, right? So in
mm.
that also we would see a lot of differences with respect to the stats. So it is not related to vendor then. It is related to some other factors.
I mean, I did not get your question. Can you repeat it, please?
No, I mean to say, like as you explained with respect to APM, Dynatrace, and AppDynamics, so we don't have exact thing like why there is a variation with respect to the stats. So
Mm,
likewise, we have the like a single vendor which is HP. So
mm.
in that also we have different tools, monitoring tools. HP
Right.
site,
Right.
other like HP OpenView, HP Sitescope like that.
Right.
Like in that also we will see some variations with respect to the stats.
Right.
So that is what I mean to say.
Right. It is all, see, because if you take a side scope, right, side scope results are not always reliable, because if you go back and talk about APM again, there are two different types. One is agent based and one is agentless. Agentless agentless monitoring tools will not help you to fix most of the majority of the performance issues. But whereas agent based, right, it will have a plug-in contact with the server and it will continuously monitor the server activity. It can fetch all the activity that is happening from that respective server. So basically, if you take this HP Diagnostics or HP Sitescope, HP OpenView, there is no feasibility actually. It is very hard for any of the performance engineers to quickly identify or isolate the performance issues. It is not the case with CAAPM or AppDynamics or Dynatrace. It has got so much of it has so many other features where you can identify or where you can see the gap of that issue from time to time, some historical trend analysis. We have lot many options in it. So what we can do with this topic is, there is one topic on APM, the last session. So in that session, I'll tell you why we are using APM. I mean, why we are using agent-based instead of agentless majority of the times. For whatever the questions that you have asked, I'll give you the answer in that session, because we are totally going out of the topic. So I'll clarify this thing in the APM session. Okay, which APM tool to use and why.
Yeah, sure.
Okay. So ADDM is enabled by default, and there is something called statistics level parameter. Okay. So I mean, if you want to set this parameter right, you need to give a value like this. It is very easy. I'll show you where you have to set when I show it to you when I show you on the Oracle database. Okay, you have to set a typical or all. When you give this typical or all, it will completely capture all the data. It will enable the automatic database diagnostic feature of ADDM, and you can also set a value called basic. Uh, a parameter equal to basic, but basic what it will do is it will disable many of the Oracle database features. It is not a best practice. So we need ADDM all the time for the DBS anytime. So that statistics level equal to typical or all will enable the ADDM. Okay, this is the main thing. And to basically the ADDM findings, right, the last point for the analysis period. So it will do all the performance analysis, and you can see some columns, like it will give you the impact in percentage, and it will give you the finding. I mean, it will clearly define you the summary of the ADDM finding. And to view the more details of that finding, you can click the link on that finding in the report. It will open and it will give you some additional information. And in the recommendations, it will tell you what is the type of operation that ADDM is going to recommend to resolve that particular performance problem that has been identified by that finding, by that ADDM finding. Okay. And the informational findings, there is a section called informational findings in ADDM. So what that section will do is, it will show you some performance impact, okay, of of the complete areas. What is the performance impact of these findings, and the impact is shown in percentages. And after once you get this ADDM findings, ADDM report, each ADDM finding will have three different types of information. One is the problem, which will describe the root cause of a performance issue of the database, and one is something called symptom. It will contain some information that is leading to this problem. It will have some information why you are getting this. And the third one is, you will have information which will give you the report areas of the system which don't really have a performance impact. Okay. So when a specific problem will have, if you have a specific problem right from the ADDM, it can have multiple causes. Okay, and ADDM will give you multiple findings. For your question, someone asked me, do I need to implement all the ADDM findings? It is yes. It is not you again who will do it. It is the ADM. It is the it is the DBA who will take a call, and he will make changes accordingly. Okay. And for example, if you have multiple findings, if all the findings containing the same portion of DB time will impact the entire database time. Okay, because the performance problems with multiple findings, they overlap. Actually, they sum up, and it will show the complete the total impact on the system. So that that can be one of the main crucial scenario when you have some multiple findings. It will for all the findings it will give you the average of the db time. From for that you need to identify which finding is taking high amount of db time, right? That is a bit difficult. So when again the main challenge here is uh, there is an interview question. Have you ever seen db time more than 100%? This is one of the important question in Oracle database tuning. So I can ask you, did you ever observe database time to 120% or 110%? More than 100%? Do you know do you know the reason why you see more than 100% of db time?
Is it because of weights?
No, I told you, right? Multiple findings. Multiple
Okay.
finding means if a system performs many reads, many writes, that is one finding. Okay. And the second finding is a SQL statement is responsible for 50% of DB time. And reads writes is one finding. IO activity is one finding. And there is something called undersized instance memory is responsible for another db time. Let's say that 30% of db time. So when you have these multiple findings, these performance problems, what they can have is they can overlap. They overlap and they sum up all the impacts of the multiple findings, which can show you a higher percentage of db time. You understood the point, right? Multiple findings are adding all the db times and it can show you 125 or 130% of db time. You can split them up, but it is not overall calculated to 100%. And there are even if you ask this question to your interviewer, he will not be able to answer this question. Okay, so a problem finding can be associated with many of the recommendations, many of the findings for reducing the impact of the performance problem. It is the main important point. So to break all those findings into bits and pieces, you cannot do it from your side. You will definitely need a help from DBA. Okay, and you can understand how I can calculate the impact of db time to 100%. That is also you'll get to know only from the DBA. Okay, so that is all for what ADDM. The last point is ADDM is the first report that a DBA will look at. Okay, to identify the performance problem, ADDM will give you report every. It will give you a report for every 1 hour. It will give you the problem diagnosis based on what is happening inside the database, and it will give you the problem and the impact of the problem and recommendation benefits. It will give you the root cause and it will tell you what is not a problem. Okay, I mean to say that it will identify the non-problem areas of your system, and there is no additional impact of enabling the ADDM on the Oracle database. It is a minimal overhead to the system during this diagnostic process. If you there is nothing like if you're enabling ADDM, it will eat 50% of your memory. It will consume 70% of CPU, or it will have too many writes and writes. It will not have anything as such. It is a very minimum to minimal overhead on your Oracle database server, and enabling ADDM is always a very good practice. Okay, it will identify all the CPU bottlenecks. It will identify the undersized memory structures, SGA, PGA, and buffer cache. And SGA, PGA, and buffer cache. This is the memory structure in Oracle. If you get some time, you can read this one. Very, very important question. This one is a very, very SGA, system global area, program global area, and buffer cache. Okay. So it will tell you high load SQL statements, high load PL SQL executions, and rack specific issues. You got nothing to do with all of them. Suboptimal use of Oracle database configuration issues. I told you, right? Application changes, concurrency issues, hot objects. Okay. There is one document. I'll send you that. This is all about the ADDM, and I installed Oracle database. I'll come back and I'll show you how to check, how to generate a report, where to enable all these parameters. Okay, once we are done, we are left only with the .NET performance tuning and client-side performance testing hands-on. After that, I'll try to give you some access to the lab where you will be able to take some lab itself is not required. I can give you some war file. You can deploy that war file in WebLogic server. You can configure it to the Oracle database server. I can give you some dummy scripts which can allow you to take some AWR report with dummy data, ADDM, ASH, and some thread dump, heap dump, and GC analysis. Okay, I'll give you that lab. Don't worry about that. Meanwhile, you prepare all of these things. Once the lab is ready, I'll give you some slots. You can access this lab and you can practice all of them in here. And I mean, if people who can't spend some time, who can't create the setup on their own, this lab is required. If you tell me that, sir, we are ready to create our own setup where we can practice all of them, I have already given you some setup files: App Perfect Profiler, JProfiler. I can also give you this SolarWinds, which is a monitoring tool. That is also a cracked version. If you have some time, if you have willing to learn all these activities, you can create your own lab. You can create your own configurations. That is how you will get all the real-time information. Because whatever the lab that I give you, right, I'll install everything, and you simply go there, open JProfiler. You'll click on heap dump. You'll get a heap dump. You go to Heap Hero online analyzer, you upload that .hprof file, it will analyze and it will tell you some metrics. Same diagrammatic representation, which will not help you. Okay, so I'll tell you which application to install. Spend some time. If you have any issues, you can always message me, ping me, or call me. I'm always there to help you. All right. So
Raj, one
yes.
last question, Raj.
Yes, sir. Please tell me.
This is what we are facing in our project. The thing is, like, when we do, when we execute the test, we don't find any errors while doing it in the UI. But in the background, in the logs and all, the errors would have been generated.
Okay.
So how do you proceed with that?
Okay.
In that scenario,
so you
lot of errors would be generated.
What kind of errors are you seeing now?
Errors.
Can you tell me? Can you help me with one error?
Yeah. Sometimes it will be related to 404 type errors.
Okay.
Sometimes it will be the validation errors.
Okay.
And
any of your transactions failing?
No, the transactions will not be failing.
Transactions are not failing, and you are not seeing anything from the UI. No issues
and
from
one
the
more
UI.
thing is, not like this is not while doing a performance testing. This is only for 2 or 3 users doing on the application UI.
Okay.
So from a front end, we don't see any issues, but at the back end, the errors are generated.
What is the error that you're seeing? 404? Huh?
Yeah, 404.
So these
and
are
few
some,
validation errors.
basically these are from some access related issues and application related issues. When you're testing the application with a minimal user base, right,
Users, yeah,
2 or 3 users, it is directly saying the application is not stable,
correct, exactly. Yeah, that is
right?
what we were feeling. Yeah.
Hmm. Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, in that case, how can we proceed? Like we have to provide that error logs to the developers and we
Ah,
have to get it fixed and only then we can go ahead, right?
no, that is the only possible solution, right?
Okay.
Because simple, the error rate should not exceed greater than 5%. Any of the load test, you know it, right?
Yes, correct.
So
Okay.
when you are running this scenario with 50 concurrent users, everything will fail.
Mm.
You can ask them if they're okay to have to quickly see a performance run with 50 users. You can ask them and go ahead and see. You run it for 15 minutes steady state.
Mm-hmm.
You will
Mm-hmm.
see all the errors. You can also
Okay.
run that script in controller. Controller is very easy and you have so many graphs in controller. You can pull all the
Mm.
graphs, hits per second, connections per second. You can see all of them, and many
Mm-hmm.
of you will easily identify http errors by description. You have so many other metrics which will directly help you. You will get that I mean information, what is wrong with the application.
Okay. Okay.
Mostly it is the application related issue. You have
Okay.
to talk to
Okay.
the developers.
Okay. Okay. Fine, Arki. Yeah. Thank you. Yeah,
Partner,
and
one more
please
thing.
share those best practice document for this.
Sure, sir, sure.